Hi guys, I've been asked to do more album flips with you guys, and so I'm going to do one today, but first I thought I'd let you know what I'm doing with my storage situation, because the last time I did an album flip I showed you guys where I store my albums, and I will link that video right here. I'm going to try to do this. So this will either be empty and you'll be wondering what on earth I'm talking about, or there will be a little video right here that you can click to see my first album flip. But in that first video I did talk about the fact that I'm running out of room upstairs for my albums, and we don't really have room to get a new unit to put more scrapbooking albums on. So what I've decided to do is I've cleared a bit of space in my back room. Here in my scrap room I have like a closet that's in the back, and I've cleared a bit of space on one of the bookshelves, and every time I finish an album, so what I do is I keep an album down here, and as I finish layouts every month I put them into that album until that album is full. It usually takes a couple months, between 2 and 3 or 4 months to fill that album. And so every time I fill an album, what I need to do in order to make room upstairs is I need to bring an older album down. So what I'll be doing is doing a bit of an album shuffle every time that I finish one off, and so this will be the first of those. So my oldest album up there right now, because I did bring down the last album flip I did with you guys, I think I shared 4 albums, although one was only half done, not even half done, and one was my wedding album. So I'm leaving my wedding album up there because it's nice to have my wedding album out, but this is my next oldest album. So those other 3 that I had reviewed with you guys last time, they're already in my closet. So this is the oldest one that's up there other than my wedding album. So it's September 2009 to March 2010. It is covered in cat hair because that's how fabric covered albums get in my house. And so I thought I would just flip through. So this was kind of early in my scrapbooking career, and I was doing lots of I recognize this as K & Company paper, and I had done some cutting out of, I think that this was a Making Memories paper, and there was my favorite font, my favorite thicker font, called Daiquiri. It's a foam letter sticker and it's so nice. I absolutely love those. I still have some, but not very much. I have a basic gray piece of chipboard here. These are Prima flowers right here and here, and then these are little elements that I think, you know what, I'm pretty sure that Anne Kenworthy sent me these. I could be wrong, but she and I were swap partners at scrapbook.com, and I'm pretty sure that she sent me those. It was either her or Holly who sent them, but I'm pretty sure it was Anne. I put a little piece of mesh in here. This is something I got from my scrapbooking store. And then a little piece of tulle right here behind the flowers. I tied some ribbons all over the paper clip. This is some stamping I did, and did a tiny bit of journaling and put the date up there. So this shows lots and lots of outlining, and so you'll see that I was outlining a lot at this point. Almost every layout at this point was outlined. And then I used this punch, which was one of my favorite punches, the apron lace punch, which I do still have. Then, okay, I put sticky notes on these to say the dates because I didn't put a date stamp on these. So my plan is to go back and add date stamps at some point, but I never did. Maybe I will someday. So this one uses some Making Memories paper, and this is like a background glitter paper with the circles all over. These are circles of glitter. And then this was an unfinished package of thickers, like they were, I think they were white actually. They're not unfinished, they're white. They were called Jewelry Box. And I just did like a little photo collage here and used the Baja Rosa label, and it's just kind of very simply embellished with just very few things here. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of glare in these videos because I don't really want to take every layout out for you to see. So that was September of '09. And now this is a layout that I wasn't happy with at the time, and I'm still not happy with it. But it's okay. What I did was I took a 6x6 pad of basic gray paper from the Junebug collection, and I made a background paper by putting 4 of the papers out like this, and then I matted it with a big piece of orange, which I thought would give it a bit of room to breathe, but it's really overwhelming. And I was just kind of playing with the idea of combining bold patterns, and the Junebug collection certainly does a lot of that. I cut out here to make this into a border, and I used a strip here and a strip here from the paper. And I only had the 6x6 paper pad, and then I decided to leave these chipboard pieces. I think these are from Pebbles. I decided to leave them white. And I don't know, this layout has a really unfinished look, and this is a good learning example for me because, you know, I didn't like it at the time. And so what I did was I actually went onto scrapbook.com and looked for some feedback on this. And I got some really great feedback on it, actually, although I didn't act on it. Somebody on the message board there suggested if I had just matted this orange paper in black, that it would have made a big difference. And I also probably would have matted the photo on black, and I might have used a lot of black elements on this layout, and that might have made a big difference, including maybe matting the whole thing in black. And the title is Where's Olivia? And that's because this photo was taken by Olivia. She was really young. In 2009, she would have been 4, but she was really taking good pictures, and we thought that we would show an example of how great she is at taking pictures. For a 4-year-old, like, she would actually press the button halfway to get everybody focused and make sure that everybody was in the frame and then take the picture. So she was a really good photographer even at a young age. Like, she was doing things that we wouldn't have expected her to do. So this would have looked a lot better with lots of black bold elements on it. And so that was a good example of learning process for me. Oh yes, and then I remember the day I did these, the evening that I did these. So these are my first 2 layouts about something other than like pictures of my family and stuff. So we were big, huge fans of Lost, and I am a huge Locke fan. Like, I absolutely love Locke. My iPad is named Locke. It's like, actually, a little piece of trivia about our family is that all of our devices in our house, so each of our printers, our Wi-Fi, our TVs, because our TVs connect to our Apple TVs. We've got multiple Apple TVs and multiple TV screens, and we've got iPads, 2, 3 iPads, I think, because Scott uses one for work, and we've got iPods and all kinds of devices and phones. They're all named after Lost. So the TV upstairs is the Swan, the TV down here is the Orchid. There's my phone is called Locke, and my iPad is called Locke, and my iPhone is called Desmond, and Scott's iPod is called Hurley, and there's just like a whole bunch of names of people and things and the stations and stuff from Lost, because we're a little bit dorky like that. Anyhow, these were 2 layouts that I did where basically I had gone online and found a whole bunch of Locke quotes. I think John Locke said like the coolest things. So I had a whole bunch of quotes, and then I also had, it's kind of like these 2 are opposite figure characters in the show. If you guys didn't watch the show, this guy is into kind of spirituality and kind of, you know, like he's a man of faith, and this guy is a doctor, and he's a man of science, and so the show did a really good job of contrasting these 2 a lot. So I decided to contrast them too. So I put, for Locke, I put him on white paper with black writing, and for Jack, I put him on black paper with white writing, which was really hard to do, by the way. It took forever to write neat in a white gel pen because it keeps, you know, gel pens tend to be really blobby. And then I did no embellishing, but what I did was I used a variety of different fonts. So I have like this main font, which is kind of my main handwriting that I generally use, and then I added in this font for impact. And then this is one of my, one of kind of the most standout quotes, "Don't tell me what I can't do," which is something that, if you're a Lost fan, you can totally hear his voice yelling that when they told him he couldn't do the walkabout in Australia. And so that's that. And then for this one, I just did the same thing, but in the black, like with the white gel pen. And there's less kind of emphasis. You could tell I was getting kind of tired. And he doesn't have a standout quote. He's not my favorite character. So anyhow, but he still said really great things. And I think that these two pages beside each other kind of tell a lot of the things that I love about Lost. So there you go. So those are fun. And these aren't anywhere else. They're just here. I never took pictures of them or anything because they're not very interesting design-wise, but I just really, really, really love these two. So, it's sad that these are going to be in my closet now. But anyways, it is what it is. They can't all be out, right? So this is a layout that I did using, I think this is K & Company paper, with these whimsical toadstools here along the edge. I did a photo mosaic here and put them on two different pages. I did this ink technique around the edges. I think I might have used paint for that. You see that? And yeah, and then my kids had these stamps. They're from a craft kit that we got, and so I just borrowed them because I didn't have any farmyard stamps myself, so I just borrowed them and made a little border on the edge of this. And I cut out these letters using my slice die cutting machine. And I outlined them in white gel pen, which over time the ink from the paper has kind of seeped through, so some of the outlines look pink or orange, but it was all white at one point. And then I did matte this one. So with the slice, you had the option to matte your letters or to cut them just regular. And then I just put a little cluster of felt embellishments, also from the same collection as the paper. This layout here uses, I inked, this was the same white font from this layout here, but I inked it blue in this case with probably distress ink, probably in broken china. These are Making Memories letter stickers. This was I think this was Jenny Bolin? I could be wrong. These were journaling cards that were fairly large that came in a big package. And I just kind of clustered. I used some rub-ons here. This is not a rub-on. This is a plastic. This is like a see-through sticker. And this is a coffee sleeve that I opened up to use the corrugated side. And I was going to put some journaling strips here, but I never did go back and add those. And this is another Jenny Bolin bingo card. I am having a really difficult time describing today. I just narrated a video that I just like bumbled all over the place and didn't know what to say about anything. So, anyhow, so there's some things, and then there's a straight pin with like a hat pin type of thing with a bow tied around it with a little ribbon. And I stamped that, and I didn't do a very good job of stamping it, but it's okay. This is one of my favorite layouts. I love this one. 12 teen is just enough. And this was just a picture of my daughter. She was counting the crackers as she put them in. This is my younger daughter. She was counting the crackers as she put them into her soup, and so I kept the label from the soup can because I knew I was going to scrapbook this picture right away. And I just layered a bunch of stuff from Basic Gray. This is from the Lime Ricky collection, all of the pattern papers on this one. And then these are also from Basic Gray, Lime Ricky, and then these are some vinyl thickers. And it just says, counting crackers as she adds them to her soup. Sophie stops after 11 because 12 teen is just enough. And then around the outside, I just journaled how she counted. So it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 teen, and then it kind of kept going and kind of all mixed up from that point. And so she used to say 12 teen instead of 12, which I thought was just absolutely adorable. So I had to scrapbook that. Here's where I became a member of the Scarlet Lime Kit Club. And so I started using all kinds of embellishments that I had never tried before. So belonging to a kit club early in my scrapbooking years really pushed me to use some things that I would have never bought on my own. And so I used to love getting these kits and opening them up. They were tricky kits to use too, because there were lots of kind of really dimensional things like this flower and things that I had never seen before. At least I found them tricky to use. So anyways, I cut out these leaves from a pattern paper that came in the kit, and then I just layered some embellishments. I don't know if all of these came in the kit or if some of them were from my stash. And this one is untitled. It's just a picture of Olivia sleeping in Jen's arms at Tanya's wedding. So, and then here's another one that I did with the kit. I loved this paper, and this was something that I was tempted to hoard, so I was, really pushing myself to get it on the page, so I used it as a background so I could really appreciate it. I did some stamping. I used my own stash for the title, for getting the letters, and then I just these were things that came in the kit, and this came in the kit. This was from Kaiser Craft, and this was from Kaiser Craft too, but I put distress ink on it so it would look old. And the kit came with this huge amount of buttons, including this big giant one. So I just made a big blob of buttons here just to be an embellishment for the kit. And then I used my punch. I actually used this punch on some fun foam here to get these heart shapes. And that is this punch right here, which is an older punch. I got it from the art store, and it's by EK Success. And this little butterfly thing came in the kit too. More layouts from the kit. And at this point, some of these are my own designs, and some of these are lifts from the design team. Like this I think was my own, and this I think was my own. Don't quote me on any of these though, because I don't know which ones were mine and which ones were lifts, because I was really struggling with using these supplies, and so I would go on the website and check out what the design team had done with the kits. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that this one was my own design. I don't know for sure though. Like I said, don't quote me. So here I made this little cluster of embellishments using paper flowers and some doodling and some little centers for the flowers. So that was really fun to do. And I kind of made the embellishments bring things that don't necessarily go together. So this didn't kind of look good with that until I put this little circular thing on it, so that it kind of brought them together. I pop dotted this. There's like a lot, everything is bent because this throws everything else out of shape. And then I use this little border strip right here. I think I punched that, although it could have come in the kit. I don't know exactly. And then this is a rub-on over top of, I think I cut off the packaging here. This is Jenny Bolin packaging right here. I just cut it and put rub-ons on it. And here's another one. I cut out the flowers and wrinkled them up and sanded them to make them look old. And I think I made my own version of this because I had wished that I had kept that because I needed something as a strong, big decoration for this one. So I just made that. It's not that great. It's actually kind of ugly. But you know, this layout is very weird, if you ask me. But you know, it's nice. It's got this kind of vintage looking element, and then I don't know what I was doing here. Stamping and ripping with the kind of, this is paper that I got from my craft store. This and this were not in the kit, and I absolutely loved it. It had like a fuzzy, the pattern is flocked. That's really nice. Yeah, so this is just a weird layout, but it's nice because I really love those photos. That was us apple picking. We brought a photographer with us apple picking. That was before my husband was a photographer. This was not scrap lifted. This was my own design. I remember doing it. I don't love it, but it's, yeah. I really wanted to get the kids' Christmas list scrapbooked, and so that's what this is. And I think this is using a K & Company or Die Cuts with a View Christmas pack. I can't remember which. And then this one was very minimal embellishment. I just used an X-Acto knife to cut around the tree and slip the picture in. And then that's just the picture of us eating, I think, Christmas breakfast, December 25th. And then there's a little quote there, and that was already on the paper. So there's like literally very little on this, other than I did use a date stamp on this one. This one, the tops of their heads, was a layout that I really enjoyed making. I hand cut this heart, and I think this one might have been a lift. Yeah. And so the journaling says, it's a good thing we got a good look at their faces in the first 2 to 4 years of their lives, because ever since Christmas Day, all we see is the tops of their heads, because they got these little leapfrog devices for Christmas, and they were just using them constantly. So I took 2 pictures of them using their devices, and I layered a couple of circles back here. These are scallop circles that I think I cut with my slice. I hand cut the heart, added a little piece of trim up here, and these are just stickers from my stash. And then this is another weird layout where I was playing around with using paint and bubble wrap, and I have done this a lot in my scrapbooking life, of taking large bubble wrap, painting it, and then sticking it on a layout to use it as a stamp, and I absolutely love doing that. Here I layered it with a basic gray, green, and white very large rub-on. I think I put one here and one here. And then I just cut this frame out using my slice, and then I used corrector tape. This stuff, it lays down a white strip for correcting your work. But I use it as journaling strips quite a lot. And so I took a close-up picture of the needles and scrapbooked the mess from the tree. Because the trees we got in Lunenburg always seem to drop their needles, like even though we got them from a tree farm as opposed to like kind of from the woods, it wasn't really even a tree farm, but they just dropped their needles like crazy, even more than the ones that we used to get at a tree lot. So now this one is another crazy one. It's like I couldn't make up my mind if I wanted a bright and colorful layout or a distressed layout. So I did both. My daughters had Hannah Montana stamp sets, so I used them and stamped some things here. And I kind of, oh, it looks like I painted, because these letters are green, but the tops of them are purple. And then I used a whole bunch of colorful buttons, and this is from Kaiser Crafts. It's a like a piece of trim. And then this paper here is, I think, from a Die Cuts with a View kit. Pardon me. It's flocked, and it has these gems all over it. I don't know if I put the gems there or if it came with the gems. Anyhow, and then this is a piece of wrinkled up piece of paper. So anyways, that was Sophie's 3rd birthday party. And then here's another layout from the same birthday party. Sophie covering her ears when they sung happy birthday to her. And here's the group picture of the kids, and I just put a crown on Sophie. And this was a stamp set that I had from 7 Gypsies that I stamped the word S, the letter S. I did some doodling around here. Doodling around the whole thing. I used to do that a lot, like doodle around the outside edges of my design. I sprinkled some buttons. I did some misting here, and at this point I didn't own any mist, but I was making my own mist. Although this, yeah, I must have. I don't know how I did that. I think I was using re-inker and pigment, like metallic type of pigmenty things. And then I just layered a whole bunch of papers that were punched with the same punch and made it look kind of like a, I don't know, they almost look like scales or something. Here's New Year's Eve. I don't know what to say about this one. I misted and added a bunch of glimmer mist to the, I like crinkled it up, and then put a bunch of glimmer mist on it. The girls and the boys. And then here's more New Year's Eve celebrations that year. We had like a children's party, or our neighbors had a children's party. These are Making Memories layered flowers. And this is more of that Rockstar paper from, I think it's Die Cuts with a View that made that. Tree toss. And I can't remember if I did that on purpose because it's tossing the tree or not. These letters were a different color, and I went over them with, I think, I'm pretty sure I used this Smooch ink to paint them. Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? To make them green. And this was some textured paper from the art store. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really pretty paper. And then these are Basic Gray from the Origins collection. I didn't get the paper, I just got some of the embellishments. Then these are items from the Scarlet Lime kit for that month. There was like, I used tissue paper, there was a bunch of this crepe paper, so I used that to make a flower. And layered some other things. I don't know what to say about this one, it's kind of weird looking. Oh yes, this one, I'm pretty sure that this was a lift from one of the design team members at Scarlet Lime. But I didn't have all the same things that they had. So I think they had cut their image with a Cricut, and so I didn't have that. I didn't have a Cricut. So what I did was instead of because I didn't have a scallop circle shape, I just punched a whole bunch of circles. They're actually scallop circles, and I layered them in behind this I cut using probably my circle cutter, or maybe I traced a plate, I don't even know. And then I just made all of the embellishments go around it like that, and then this was fun to make, and I like how this one turned out. I like that one. So that's what that one looks like. Lots of dimension on this one. And then this one has like two strips going this way, and then the photos blocked this way, the title kind of going along where the photos all intersect. And then these are a bunch of lollipop flowers that I made. I inked the edges and distressed them as well, and did some stamping here for my journaling, but I also did journaling around the block. And these are some rub-ons. And, oh, I like this one. This one is pretty. I think this one was also inspired by the design team. I think this was a lift. And so I used a square punch to punch out, or maybe I think I used a punch. I can't remember. It looks like I might have just sliced the paper instead of using a punch. Anyhow, I kind of made this mosaic here, and then I just put some trim. This is lace trim, and then this is paper trim. I just slid my photo in there and put some kind of intricate little pearly type of things to make it look pretty. And then I put a little flower up there. This was already on the paper. I didn't do that. This was a lift from the design team. In fact, this was an almost exact lift, so I did it almost exactly like the design team did. Remember, I don't remember who was on their design team. I wasn't like keeping track of any of that kind of thing. So I think I put a rub on here to put the bee on the flower, and then I overlapped some of these. Were thicker stickers that matched with an alphabet that I didn't get, but I kind of put those down there, put a little piece of trim, another rub on bee, put my letters here. I think these were Fancy Pants letters, if I remember correctly. I punched here and did some inking so that you could see the edge because it's white on white, inking around there. And this was us at my sister-in-law's wedding. Oh, that was nice. And then this is a rub-on as well, and yeah. So here is, whew, very elaborate. So this was a Fancy Nancy party. So Fancy Nancy is all about excessive decorations. So I wanted this layout to be very elaborate, and all of the layouts from this party to be quite piled up with embellishments. So this was the invitation that we used. I did my journaling right here, and then I made a whole bunch of lollipop flowers with gems and things in the middle, brads. And these are beautiful. I think they were from Prima. And then these were butterflies that I think I cut with my slice, and then I used pearls, and just a whole assortment of things. I used stickles to outline almost everything. So there's stickles, those are stickles. I stickled the butterflies, stickled that butterfly, stickled that butterfly. Yeah. And then this was glitter paper as well in the background. So very, very elaborate. And then this was the other page. And I just used some trim that came in the kit. That was from my stash, I think. And then more of those flowers and a big giant flower. And that is my sister-in-law and Olivia with their boas. Because it was a Fancy Nancy party, there were it was dress up, and and yes, the U is missing from this. It's right here. And I used, this is like pearlized, and I need to put that back up there with some glue. And I did kind of tie a little bow around the N and dotted the I with a little button with a bow. So it's fanciful fun, and so the one F serves for both words. And more from the Fancy Nancy party, and so more kind of elaborate layering on, throwing on lots and lots and lots of embellishments. There's like a dangly piece of ribbon here, another dangly piece of ribbon, lots of stuff. And then this was another lift from the design team where you kind of, this piece of paper, I forget what was on the top of it, but it wasn't this. And so, or maybe it was, yeah, it was this. And so what I did was I cut out the flowers like this that would have kept going straight here. I cut them all out and layered them down around here. That way it looks like there's more of them than there actually were, because they don't continue. This has a hole in the middle of it. See? And I did number these. I don't know why I numbered them. I guess I had numbers to use, so I decided to number them. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about that. And then the last one in this album is this one from New Year's Eve. It says Unforgettable New Year's Eve, and the date is up here, 09 to 010, those are the years. And it's kind of like leftover stuff from the kit that month. So that was what I might want to call my awkward phase of scrapbooking. I don't know. You know, when you're a teenager and you haven't quite grown into your looks yet. This was where I was with scrapbooking for this album. So, but lots of learning took place in this album. And one thing that I did a lot in this album is lots of scrap lifting, and I think that that really helped me learn as a scrapbooker in terms of, you know, just taking the time to look really carefully at what someone else has done and then deconstruct it and then reconstruct it myself using my own supplies, which sometimes were quite different and sometimes were exactly the same as what the designer was using. And I think that you learn a whole lot more through that process of replicating something than you do just by looking at it. So, you know, there were things that I didn't realize, wait a minute, how am I going to layer? Does this layer under that or over that? And then I'd have to kind of figure out for myself if it wasn't too clear in the photo. And that's how I learned. So anyhow, thanks so much for watching my album flip. Take care and have a great scrappy week.